Hey everyone, this is Paul Gale from paulgalenetwork.com. I tried to sync that up well. Why am I doing this? Well, I just recently filmed a 17 or so minute video at my dojo for the purposes of demonstrating some punching techniques, how to jab, properly, execute it with power, not telegraph, the differences between a proper jab and an ineffective one, demonstrate some footwork, and then, throughout this course, uh, show different heights, different angles, and then I continued after jabs to just a straight punch, hooks, crossovers, and then elbow strikes, forearm strikes, hitting from a lateral to medial position, coming from the outside of your body to the inside, from medial to lateral, from the inside of your body to the outside, left and right arms. Here I demonstrated, or I didn't demonstrate, I made a comment about, practicing martial arts, whether it's Shotokan karate, jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, Muay Thai, practicing without ever hitting bags or pads is kind of like playing basketball without a net, without a backboard. Could you become good at basketball? Yeah. Could you envision where does the ball go every time? Yes. But without ever having the last component of basketball, which is the hoop, could you ever really know that you're good at it? And that's kind of how I related it to martial arts in this example. Was you could punch the air, you could kick the air all you want, you could do your basics all you want, but how effective are you against another object? You have to spar, and or you have to hit pads. You have to see what does that feel like when your knuckle makes contact, or in this case, gloves make contact. Are you bending your wrist? Are you hitting off? Now here I get into a sparring position, and I'm talking about keeping loose, not wasting your energy, not necessarily jumping up and down the whole time and telegraphing, but keeping loose, keeping limber. By always keeping moving, you're more ready to attack than from a stationary position. Unless if you're, winding up, concentrating, and boom, executing last second. In general, being free, being a little bit more limber, you're more likely to be in the zone. But to get back to the basketball analogy, the final component of that I was trying to say was, likewise, in basketball, let's say you're playing horse, right? And you're awesome at horse. You're really successful at shooting hoops, making the baskets from anywhere on the court, right? Does that make you good at basketball? No, it makes you good at one component of basketball. So then I relate it to, well, in martial arts, if you don't have an opponent to practice with, if you're not sparring, and you're really good at karate, but you've never sparred, you've never been in a fight, you've never done kumite, taekwondo, Muay Thai, same thing. Are you good at that martial art? Well, components of it. You might be good in your katas, your taigyuks. Your forms might look good. You may theoretically have the angles down in jiu-jitsu and know how to put someone in there, but certain arts more than others you'd really need someone else to practice with, and others you could do a lot on your own. But my point earlier was you kind of have to do everything, the basics, the cardio, the calisthenics, the exercises involved, even weightlifting, proper stretching, time-related drills, the kata, all of that, to become a full, complete martial artist or mixed martial artist or whatever your goal is. Let me rewind back. The whole reason why I'm doing this now is because I went to play it and there was no audio. I filmed a couple of things back to back. My first video was like a 34-minute video or so, Played it back, audio worked, sweet. Went back to recording to film this 17-minute or so segment. Played it back, no audio. So that was kind of unfortunate. I figured, like, instead of just putting the clip up online with 17 minutes of nothing to hear or no context of what am I saying, unless if you could read lips, what's the point, right? So at least I'm giving some type of narrative. It's not directly one-to-one, but like right here, by switching feet, I was saying it's not realistic that you're going to fight like that. Switch foot, switch foot, switch foot, switch foot, and punch one, punch one, punch one, punch one. But the point of that is to develop the quick ability to do that as a means of increasing your cardiovascular ability, switching it up. For as much as martial arts is discipline and repetition, it's also about stimulating yourself and muscle confusion. That's how you evolve. If you're dieting, if you're going through any type of weightlifting program, you don't want to just stay stagnant. Your body will start to understand what are you doing to itself, and it starts to predict that behavior. You need to shake it up. Martial arts, the same thing. Yeah. So I'm talking about incorporating jabs, straight punches, crossovers, hooks, elbow strike right there. How you could hit the elbow strike off of whatever leg is front, but if you hit it off of your back leg, that's like your typical reverse punch. That's the power generated from your hip. It allows you to have more of a swing. And then in this case, my left leg forward in the video, my right elbow's back, and you rotate and you engage your hips and you, boom, hit the pad more effectively, kind of like a reverse punch. One of the good things about martial arts, however, is that you can still have a very complete experience in learning Shotokan karate or Taekwondo or any martial art without ever getting into a fight. Here I'm talking about the impracticality of doing a 6-to-12 or a 12-to-6 elbow on a pad because it's straight up and down on a punching bag like this. You kind of need some curvature to achieve that. Yeah. Anyways, like I was saying, there's so much that martial arts offers that you don't ever have to fight or be involved in kumite in order to get a good time, a good experience. You could still do plenty of basics back and forth, your form work. You could do the plyometrics and the weightlifting involved in making your karate speed faster and more powerful. You could kick a bunch of pads in Muay Thai and never fight a person, but just understand, this is shin development, how to get my shins strong. You could lift up, 200-pound dummies and put them into a position and wrestle. You could grab, a similar object, a dummy with, proper arms and legs, and put them into holes and make them theoretically tap out and, be all right at jiu-jitsu. But really, when it comes to wrestling and jiu-jitsu, you almost need that other person because it's such a body interactive sport where two people are, with each other rolling around at all times to really become effective at that sport, at that fighting style, that you're really missing out a lot if you're not engaging with someone else. But with Muay Thai, with karate, with Taekwondo, there's so much to it. Like in Shotokan karate, for instance, you have your designated basics that you do back and forth, your basics that you do from a stationary position, and your katas. In Taekwondo, you have your movements that you do back and forth, stuff that you do from a lateral position, kicking focus drills in repetition, developing your hip flexibility and strength, and your pumses, your taigyuks, There are systems in place in all of these martial arts of how to punch, block, counter. Punch, block, counter. Kick, block, counter. Roundhouse, block, counter. And a lot of that stuff is partner work because a lot of it is artistic, okay? It's all functional, it's all practical, it all could actually be used, but only if you use it in an advanced way. So think of some of the stuff that you do in karate and taekwondo as, an art. You're learning how to play a song, you're learning some type of choreography. You and your partner, you announce face punch, your partner knows it's coming. You punch, they block, they counter, you both reset. Or you face punch, stomach punch, front snap kick, they rise block, outside inside block, downward block, reverse punch, reset. Or you are standing from a stationary position, you announce spinning back thrust kick, you perform it, they grab your leg, spin you up, pull it down. That sounds very choreographed, right? It is. Now you think of that and say, is that practical? How do you use that in a fight? No one's going to say, coming at you with a punch, and punch you one time and give you the opportunity to block and counter without them punching you 2-3 times in succession, right? Punching, following up with a kick, correct? Well, here's the thing. These systems have in place building blocks, like I said, basics from a stationary position, from a walking forward and back, sideways standpoint, and then partner drills, one-on-one from stationary, one-on-one moving multiple times, one-on-one from a constant, battle, and then your actual sparring, and then actual kumite, fight-based elements. If you train with the intensity and the seriousness of these different forms of one-time, two-time, three-time attack, outside of just, I'm going to call it, you acknowledge it, me hit you, let's go, but try to use those special techniques in a sparring-like scenario, practicing multiple times, hundreds of times, thousands of times in some case, then it becomes applicable. We learn so much in these martial arts. In Shotokan, for instance, there are, a couple dozen ways how to block somebody's face punch coming at you and following up with a reverse punch. In Taekwondo, there's dozens of blocking someone's punch inside out followed by a reverse punch of your own. And it goes into different forms. We do a lot of advanced techniques, but do you ever see any of those used in a real fight? Not as often. Be it Muay Thai, Kung Fu, boxing, karate, Taekwondo, a stand-up punch getting thrown at you, you're using something very basic. 1-2, 1-2, in and out, the quickest thing that you could do. If someone's coming at you with a punch, it's probably not one punch unless if it's their fake, 1-2 followed by that. But, good martial artist is probably coming at you with a barrage of techniques. So what then happens to all of that training that you did of how to block one and counter with one, when in a real fight, that's not the case? Well, in theory, practicing this enough, you can use any of these advanced techniques against any of their techniques if you catch them. That's the theory behind it. With that one jab, you caught them with the special defensive technique that's a defense block and counterattack. You caught them with that, they lifted up their knee, they faked you, they lifted up their knee, they faked you, they committed to a front snap kick, you read that one right, they telegraphed it just ever so slightly that you're able to pow, pow, that you're able to lift them up, boom, and continue. So it does work, but it takes a lot of practice in setting up those scenarios and making it as real as it can be to make it useful. When I teach my students, I teach them at the most basic standpoint, and then I highly encourage and work with them one-on-one. My students are always working with each other, and as their sensei, I compete with them. I give them a lot of hand-to-hand combat experience in us fighting each other. And sometimes we ramp it up, and sometimes we lower it back down. But, I have a lot to teach. I have a lot to show from different martial arts learned over the years. And I don't want them to go into a sparring situation or a street fight ever or a professional tournament style fighting, a kumite match, for instance, and feel like, well, geez, I've spent years training. I know hundreds of different techniques, different blocks and counters, different ways to grab someone, but nobody ever just throws one punch, throws one kick. All I'm doing in the tournament is this. These are my blocks. What about everything else we learned, right? That's why I teach the way I teach, to make it real and authentic, to make it useful, because I enjoy this stuff, I've been doing this for 35 years, almost. 32 years, a little over 32 years. This summer, in fact, will be 33. Yeah, 1987 to 2020. 33 years of various martial arts experience. I said close to 35 originally, but yeah, 32, almost 33. That's the most accurate. So, yeah, rewinding, coming back full circle to this video, like I said, I wanted to demonstrate some punches. At the end, I said, in a future video, I'd like to do kicks. We'll just pause it somewhere. Okay, good. That's a good shot, right? Sometimes you just pause the video and then you have like the most awkward face and you're that kind of thing, right? So at least this, I'm kind of looking at the camera, so good place to pause. I just wanted to provide some type of voiceover. I wasn't even, while this video was rolling, I wasn't even saying directly what I was doing. It kind of became its own natural thing. Actually, I could make this bigger right now, right? Am I bigger now? Yeah, I'm bigger now. Okay. So one of the thoughts when I found out that, this video is not really able to be used because it's got no audio, maybe I'll do a voiceover over the whole thing and say, hi, I'm going to try to talk about it. Here I am jabbing, and here I am showing a jab from an improper way. Don't do this. Do this. Come forward with this intensity. Rotate. And, that was one of the thoughts, was maybe I'll just recreate it. But I thought, no. As you saw going in, I never really tried to recreate everything word by word because there is no script. It's just live. It's natural. It's what I'm doing, what I'm teaching in the moment, and that's what you're getting. So I did kind of brush over and talk a little bit about what the overall intention of the video was, what I was doing in it, showing the techniques, how to create a backhand, how you could create a backhand from, out here coming across this way, but also a backhand from a forward, their perspective, medial, bam, to their lateral, like a backhand to the face as opposed to a slap to the face. Anyways, you see those different things in the video. I touch on them as I go on, but I kind of ended up in this part talking, once again, kind of what I do, live, natural, what's the thought on my mind in the moment. And anyways, hopefully this video, when you're watching it, has some use, and I will probably end up doing this type of punching bag drill again in the future. Make sure that audio is ready, and then put that one up. But then again, it's probably going to be different because there are no 2 days that are ever the exact same, which I teach, which I speak. There are certain analogies that I go back to because I find them useful. Some students have heard it many times because as more and more new students enter my dojo, the seniors have heard that speech a while. Some of it's useful for everyone, but a lot of it is new material always going forward. I have a philosophy in teaching what you know. Keep building it up by revisiting it. Keep building it up by revisiting it. Keep building it up by revisiting it. But also continuously teach stuff that's newer and newer and newer. It keeps people engaged, interested, motivated to continue. They see a glimpse of what the future holds and they want that. All the reason why I find it important. And at the same time, they appreciate what they're learning because they could see and reflect back to, what did I look like when I first learned a roundhouse kick, Let me look back at that old footage. Let me look at it now. Wow, I have improved. So it's important to repeat basics, but it's also important to progressively introduce new stimuli to students. So thank you for watching anyways. This was an interesting video. Didn't know exactly where it was going to go, but you got my live, honest, uncut presentation. There was no speech, and hopefully this was useful to some people out there. Alrighty. The real shame in all this is you didn't get to hear that pad roaring when I'm doing a certain backhand or an elbow strike or something like that. There's nothing more satisfying than that thud. But in the future. Okay. Alright, everyone. Stay safe out there. I plan on doing more martial arts videos, putting them up online. I've always done that. You can look back throughout my YouTube history, my paulgalenetwork.com history, and you can see videos from like 13 years ago or so of me demonstrating martial arts techniques online. Of course, I was doing this kind of stuff when I was a kid, but back in 1987, 1990, when I was going through wrestling and taekwondo, my first art styles, I didn't have video camera and the ease of it and the ability to put it online because there wasn't any internet there until like 97 for me. But there are some old family videos, footage, pictures of me, because we did have a video camera, so I have some demonstrating moves. But I've always enjoyed sharing what I've learned so I could look back at it later and see how much I've grown and critique myself and keep trying to evolve. And now sharing it with other people so that the most amount of good can be had in the world from what I've learned. That's my thought on that. Well, stay safe. Like I said, I've always put these up since I've had the ability to, but especially in this time of global uncertainty due to health concerns around the world and forced closures and whatnot, it is a better idea to keep that social distancing serious. So if you have a punching bag in your home and you want to recreate some of what I've shown, cool. If you don't, you could shadow box. You don't have to hit a pad, but you could kind of get a gist of, all right, this is how you move. Jab, jab, boom, reverse. 1, 2, 1, 2, reverse, boom, boom. Switch your legs. You can look back at my channel and you'll see a lot of different videos, some stretching stuff, different punches, kicks. You'll see katas, you'll see taigyuks. I plan on putting more, whether we got this disease in the world or not, I was still going to do online stuff, but now it makes even more sense than ever to do it because I think people could use some extra exercise, fitness advice, whether it's personal defense, martial arts related, just calisthenics, etc., at home to do on their own instead of being sedentary. So if this helps out some folks, then no need to even say thank you. Thank you, I should say, for giving me the time, and thank you for the feedback. So once again, PGN signing out. Have a good one. Till next time. Bye.